Welcome to Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk special. Join us as we dive into the topics related to living with a facial disfigurement. Whether you're here for yourself, your loved ones, or for educational and professional insights, this is for you. We start our conversation with clear, understandable terminology. While we use disfigurement, it's for medical and legal clarity. We acknowledge you may relate to terms like visible difference or your own diagnoses. All our presenters have lived experience or work with people living with facial disfigurement. Curious to know more? So are we. Pull up a seat, grab a cuppa, and let's chat around the table with Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk special.
Hi, and welcome to Dr. Zali's Desk special. This is a special announcement of our first, and I've written what I'm going to say, and so if you see me tracking, it'll be because I'm reading it. The Anomalous Man Skit by Saturday Night Live aired in America on Saturday the 4th of May. This skit has affected the facially disfigured or facially different, FD for short, community and reinforced old stereotypes. It portrayed people living with FD as hopeless, loveless, and unlovable, dull of understanding, ugly, monsters, unworthy of love, affection, and sex. Portraying the disfigured man to be some sort of sexual beast online with sexting. Being an excellent playwright, but unfaithful, ugly, worthy of pity. This sketch reinforces and helps solidify society's negative biases towards people living with facial disfigurement. The depiction of the FD man had a pig snout as a nose, horns coming out of his head with other bumps and lumps on his forehead and lip, a crab-like claw for a hand, an eye in the back of his back, which I took offence to, it was rather offensive, which opened and closed during a bath scene, where the beauty that was bathing him was a romantic kind of gesture and totally and utterly gross. I could continue and say that this has re-traumatized some people within our community. I could continue the outrage and the anger and the frustration. However, I wish to cast another eye over the skit. What about the nearly normal person living with FD? Nearly normal, according to Alan Somji, I'm sorry, I'm saying your surname incorrectly, from About Face in Canada wrote so aptly, and I am quoting, that we are instantly noticeable, we are objects to be stared at. We are not normal, yet we're not different enough to be recognized or protected. Rather, we are nearly normal. Different in the way that is seen but is never addressed, that affects our interactions with society deeply, yet is hidden rather than confronted. We live in a world where issues of iniquity and discrimination are increasingly discussed, he goes on to say, but we don't quite fit the current narratives. We aren't necessarily disabled, although many are, yet the people with a facial disfigurement, as people with a facial difference, we unquestionably face discrimination. And that's the end of his quote that I wish to quote. I would like to share that this skit from Saturday Night Live not only reinforced that people who look different are ugly, not intelligent, something to be feared, made fun of and mocked, just for starters, However, what about people living with a slight disfigurement, such as myself, who may not identify as living with a visible difference, but instead say to themselves and others, oh, it's just an eye. I have another. Oh, it's just a small scar. Look at what others have got to deal with. I'm not complaining. Oh, it's just a birthmark, or it's just fill in the blank. However, the more nearly normal you appear, the different the conversations are. Instead of being mocked and told that you need to be fixed or to kill yourself, or your mother should have had you not, and I am cleaning up the language here, which people living with facial disfigurement face on a daily basis and can internalize and make it their own, because if it's said enough times, it's got to be true, doesn't it? People that are more nearly normal, receive, it's just an eye. But you're still pretty. But you're still handsome. I don't see it. Nobody sees it, insinuating that it's all in our head and nothing to do with reality. People living with a slight disfigurement can internalize and make it their own, because if it's said or implied enough times, it's got to be true, doesn't it? So not only does this skit reinforce the horrible stereotypes that vilify us, but it also reinforces to the people who may not associate their slight disfigurement or slight facial difference with being facially disfigured or being facially different or visibly different, who would balk and not identify as living with a facial difference, that their lived experience, that the depression, the anxiety, the butterflies they feel, or the knots in their stomach that they overcome as they reach for the front door is not real and could not possibly be linked to the slight scar on their face, wearing the prosthetic eye or ear, or a mole on their face. In society that espouses and pats themselves on the back for being more inclusive, who embraces everyone, to Saturday Night Live and the media in general, you can do better.
By golly gosh, it's the end of Karibu Anawim's 15 minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk special. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember that all information given during this episode is for general application only. If you have any specific medical issues, as always, consult with your medical practitioner. Like, subscribe and share on whatever platform you find us on. For more information, please connect with Karibu Anawim on our website at karibuanawim.com or email us at inquiries@karibuanawim.com.